Howdy, Possum Patty here. It is August 7th, and this is our 4th day living off the grid. They haven't removed the trees or restored the power. And there's a monarch butterfly that's going crazy, flying circles around me. Went out in the woods right now. I wonder what he's looking for. So Tom turned the generator off for a few minutes, so while there's no noise out here, I'm gonna take a little walk down the sand mound and show you what I was sketching earlier. And we'll just stop and look at a few things along the way. I'm gonna back up here a minute. Just want to show you the Indian tobacco and how it's getting all these little puffy pods on it. Still has lots of flowers. This is a lobelia. Pretty little purple flowers. And the Native Americans did use this like a tobacco. It's called Indian tobacco, and it's a kind of lobelia. Coming along nicely. I think this is going to be an aster when it gets flowers. I don't know what it is, which one it is. I was over here looking at this goldenrod, and I believe this is the flat top goldenrod, or it's not a solidago, but it's called a flat top goldenrod. But it's not in the same direct family as some of the other ones. Alright, I'm going to come back here. I knocked a bunch of Japanese beetles into the jar when I was out here before, and I see some more. I need to come back out with the jar again. Some more of that flat top goldenrod. Oh, I know. The other name that they have for it is grass-leaved goldenrod, because it's got these very thin leaves. There's some more of that Indian tobacco. Got lots of those little puffy things. And this one that I haven't determined what it was yet. I thought it was like a sow thistle or something, but I'm still working on that one. Walking carefully, watching for snakes. Lots and lots of this flat top goldenrod or grass-leaved goldenrod. That's not really a goldenrod, meaning it's not a solidago goldenrod anyway. It's probably closely related. Now this one is a goldenrod. This is the taller one. And I think this is the early goldenrod. The leaf has 3 main veins. I need to look back in my notes because I think that's how you identify it. It's either that one or the Solidago canadensis. Or the Canada goldenrod. Walking carefully, we got grasshoppers hopping around. And these hay-scented ferns, I noticed some before getting spores. If I can find one with spores. Oh, here's one. There's a poke still blooming. The little white flowers got these big green centers, and the big green center becomes the berry. I love how it has a pink stem, how the berries have these little pink stems. Look at the contrast in those colors. That lime green with the pink stem. Here's the bone set that the deer are munching on. You can see the broken stem, but the side shoots are getting flowers. Little tiny ones down here. So it came back after all. Okay, these are the New York ferns. And look how dark those spores are. See, that's the front. You can see how green it is, and you flip it over and you can see the black spores on the back of the leaflets. I believe this one is some kind of St. John's wort. You can see all the stamens on there. And here's a poke that's been eaten. The stem is very red. Okay, I came out earlier to this mullen because I saw some yellow blossoms on it. And I wanted to sketch that. Looks like it has some new buds up here. Something interesting that I was noting was these leaves makes this like a fuzzy ruffle attached right to the stem, and then the leaf comes off, and then there's another fuzzy ruffle, and then the next leaf comes off, and so on and so forth all the way up the stem. Like it's just attached right to the stem. And then there's little buds in the axil of the leaves. And the mud wasp has added a new house. There was one here before, now there's two. I sketched that one back a few days ago. Hello, Mr. Bumblebee. Well, I sketched the mullen, and I was pretty fascinated by the way the leaves were making these ruffles along the side of the stem. And I learned that this was called decurrent. It's like learning a new language. Here's another word, tomentos, which means it has soft, tangled hairs. And those leaves certainly are soft, with little white hairs. And another yellow flower blooming is this evening primrose. So we have back behind me, we have the goldenrod blooming, two different kinds, yellow. And I found one St. John's wort, yellow. And the mullen flowers, yellow. And the evening primrose flowers, yellow. And then I sketched the evening primrose. And what I learned about that was that it was a biennial, which means it completes its life cycle in 2 years. I sketched the goldenrod. Now this is either the early goldenrod or the Canada goldenrod. And what I learned was that both have recurved secund branches. And that means that on this curved branch, all the features, the little flowers and everything are all on one side. And that both the early and the Canada goldenrod are triple nerved. That means when you bend the leaf over, you can see the mid vein plus 2 main veins running up the side of the leaf. And just a couple steps further on this red, very red stalked pokeweed, some of the berries have turned dark purple. Look like blueberries, don't they? Don't eat them. They'll make you sick. They'll make you sick. I thought the little unripe pokeweed berries looked like little green pumpkins on a pink stem. And then I drew the little ripe ones here because purple and pink. I love that combination. Should we go a little further? And, ooh, I think that's a Japanese knotweed. Well, that's got to come out. That is so invasive. That'll just take over the whole place and I'll lose all my natives. I got to get out here and chop that down. Ferns are so dry, turning brown actually. Sticks came down in a storm. What is this? This is one of those plants that have flowers that are so small. Little tiny, tiny, tiny white flower with a yellow center. And then they make these little puffy heads. Those seeds come off. No idea what that is. This is ragweed. Okay, we can talk about ragweed and goldenrod. This catchfly is still blooming. Still has these pretty pink flowers. I wish that would spread around. It's so pretty. Let's see if I can zoom in. Okay, we're going to talk about flower reproduction strategies for a moment. This is ragweed. This is goldenrod. Goldenrod and ragweed bloom at the same time. And because the goldenrod is such a showy flower, everybody blames the goldenrod for their allergies. But the goldenrod, any flower that has these very showy flowers, the flowers are there to attract insect pollinators, which means they have a sticky pollen that stays in the flower until an insect comes along. So unless you stick this flower up your nose, you're not going to get any of this pollen in your nose to make you sneeze. Where the ragweed, which nobody notices because the flowers are these little green things, this flower is not attracted to insects at all, which means it's a wind-pollinated flower. So when the wind blows, the ragweed pollen just blows into the air. This can get up your nose and make you sneeze. But nobody notices this. They just notice this. So they think that this is making them sneeze because they can see this. So it's easy to blame it on the beautiful goldenrod. And again, this is the little ragweed. With a little green flower, it makes a lot of pollen that blows in the air and gets up your nose and makes you sneeze. The goldenrod is a composite flower, which means it has both ray flowers around the edge and disc flowers in the center. I brought one of the flowers of the New York Ironweed into the house and looked at it with my Zoomy. And they're pretty little purple tubular flowers all clustered together in one of these little bunches. Seems like I'm spending a lot of time trying to figure out what these goldenrods are. But I'm learning a lot about botany in the process, or at least the language of botany, because I have to learn all these new words. So thanks for coming along today. Happy nature journaling. Bye-bye.